we just need to book this job. I need you to wrap it up.
Pull it together.
Pull it together, because this might be the only way we have health insurance. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. So I just need you to focus and get this money, and we can cry about it after.
Welcome back, my friends, to another episode on my channel, Syndee Winters TV, where I, Syndee Winters, bring you tips, tricks, hacks, and special moments of all things Broadway and beyond. In today's episode of Artistic License, I get a chance to talk with my friend Tavia Rivée, who is an actor, singer, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Black Bee Entertainment, a production company that works on cultural coordinating. You gotta coordinate. I got a chance to talk with Tavia in Las Vegas, where she is originally from, which is so exciting. Let's check out our time.
It all happened very serendipitously. I was just a young kid who loved to read, loved to storytell. And so we were living in Jacksonville, Arkansas, because that's where you live when your father gets stationed in the Air Force.
So you're military is a brat?
But yes, military brat. Okay. Mm-hmm. Air Force brat. And we got stationed in Little Rock, Arkansas from Okinawa, Japan. My mother got me in some classes. We were at a church event and someone saw me reading and asked me to come down to the Comcast station. Long story short, I got my own TV show called Fun with Tavia.
What?
Not like, what is it, cable access or whatever they call that. And my mother was my producer, writer, director, and she, I did little skits where I dressed up as George Washington Carver and, talked about peanut butter. It was really, now that I think about it, it was kind of dope.
That's dope.
If they had YouTube back in the day, my mama would have had me. She would have.
Sensation.
Yes. But we just did that, the little cable access. And so then my mom was like, well, Tavia needs to learn a little bit about rejection, right? Because things were going pretty well. And, I was feeling like a little small town celebrity. She was like, okay, let's show her the bitter side, So she had seen a modeling and talent ad on TV. This modeling agency was looking for people. She was like, well, let's take her down there, have her audition, because I'd never actually auditioned, have her audition and show her what it's really like. They gave me a scholarship. So that kind of failed.
So is it the world? Is it the child? The child's fitting into the world. She's in her calling.
Listen,
out here.
The universe wants what it wants.
Okay.
Went to IMTA, which is a New York modeling and talent competition. Got there, did really well in the monologue portion, and got a manager. So at 10 years old, my great aunt, my mother's aunt, offered to let us live with her in Jamaica, Queens, if I signed with the manager. And so I did. I was with J. Mitchell Management at 10 years old. We left Arkansas, just me and my mom. My dad and my brother stayed in Arkansas and moved to New York, not knowing what in the world we were doing. Did things like Law and Order and Cosby and Christmas Carol at Madison Square Garden. I did not want to be in theater initially. I liked TV. And one of the first shows I saw and was just like, this is theater, I want nothing to do with it. Hi, how are you doing? My father got stationed back in Vegas, and so he was leaving Arkansas. We had said we were only gonna do it for about 3 to 5 years. So that time had come, and so we decided to move back to Vegas and kind of put that behind us. Much to my manager's dismay, because by that time, I was starting to gain, traction and really make a move in the industry. But I wanted to be a teenager, right? Yeah. And go to a regular school with a football team and cheerleading squad. Went to school, thought I needed to go to college to get a regular job, got my degree in communication studies, was about a year into a really great job at the LA Chamber of Commerce. And I was sitting in the cubicle, and making decent money for a recent college grad, had all the benefits, had my own apartment, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I miss performing. And so I immediately called my mother and I said, I think I'm gonna quit my job. I just wanna go back to theater. She was like, I was wondering what was taking you so long.
Oh, wow.
I know, she's a good one. Hi, Mom.
She's a keeper.
She's a keeper. But what I appreciated is that she never pushed me. She never tried to, be like, are you sure? She just let me find it on my own. So, quit the security of it all and went back to the business as an adult.
How old were you?
10 years later, I was 25.
25.
So I moved back in with my aunt and had to do it by myself, right? Mom wasn't there and I had no idea what I was doing. Everything had changed. Things were moving online. There were now forums and blogs and all of these things. You could go online to find out what auditions were. And
Backstage.
Yeah.
Actors Access. Tell me about Motown.
Motown. Yeah, I booked Motown and Diana understudy, which was crazy because I was like, I'm 5 feet tall and I am not skinny. Like I do not fit the criteria, but it was such a blessing. And Shelly Williams, the director, was the first one, Black female director I had worked with. And so that completely changed the game. Not only do I think that she's a fantastic communicator, I loved watching her direct because I loved her intuition, but also how she guided you to where she needed you to be without telling you, right?
Absolutely.
It was such a growing, organic process. And I remember just watching her in awe get what she needed out of these performers and just being like, how did she do that? Like, I followed you on that journey, but how did you even come up with that? And so I loved watching her and I was like, I want to learn how to do that. I think that is brilliant, and I think that I've got the skills to ultimately be in that position. And I continued to email her and was just like, hey, if you need a lackey or a coffee girl or anything, let me help you. I'm available and I just want to watch you work. I have gone to her, with just questions about other assistant directing jobs. I've done some of my own projects and been like, hey, can you take a look at this? Anything like that. Isn't that what it's about? It's about bringing others into the fold.
Yes.
And that's one way that I love our relationship, is that she knows that I'm hungry. She knows that I'm a hard worker. And she's like, any way I can utilize you, I'm going to help you build these connections. I've, created networking opportunities because of relationships that she's brought me into.
Tell me a little bit about your new endeavor now.
Cultural coordinating, which is trademarked, by the way, so don't take that.
TM.
Yes, thank you very much. So last year, after the murder of George Floyd and the insurgence of #Broadway is racist, we were all in on a lot of those forums, on a lot of those calls where we were hearing so many similar stories of inaccurate content, of not feeling safe to speak up about culturally charged material or culturally charged experiences. And I started thinking, okay, well, what's the solution? What do we need? It's like, we need a resource. We need someone who can manage those situations that is not the performer, so that the burden of enlightenment doesn't fall on the performer. And I started looking at intimacy coordinating and kind of their modules as far as setting boundaries and safe space and being the person to have the conversations with both sides. And I was like, we need that for theater, or for cultural sensitivity. So I came up with cultural coordinator, and I gave the idea to Equity. And I was like, this is an idea that I have. I think you guys should do this. And they said, this is a great idea. You should do this.
Yeah, we're gonna create a space for you, huh?
And so I was like, oh gosh. And so I started doing a lot of research. I connected with two additional great mentors and partners, and just kind of invented cultural coordinating, which over the last year has become kind of a general term, which is really exciting to hear cultural coordinating used in some of these new forums. And everyone's like, we need a cultural coordinator. And I'm like, yeah, you do. We're building a training. I'm collaborating with these partners for Black Bee Entertainment. It is myself, Marissa Kennedy, who is a diversity editor, and Ann James, who is the founder of Intimacy Coordinators of Color. And the three of us are kind of a one-stop shop for cultural competency, run by 3 Black women. And that is something I'm the most proud of ever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
It's
when I say it out loud,
dope.
We've been working hard. when I say it out loud, I'm like, yo, that's dope.
It's so dope. So dope that I was dying to get a chance to talk with you about it, because I'm like, what you're doing is so important, and it's marking a very important time in our history. Our history.
Hey, I love it.
Thank you so much, Tavia Rivée, for taking the time to speak to me and share your experience with our viewers. It is invaluable information. Once again, if you're interested in reaching out to Black Bee Entertainment, you can follow them on Instagram. Check them out on blackbeeentertainment.com. This has been another episode of Artistic License with your girl. I'll see you real soon. Stay well, stay woke, stay safe.
Peace.